too small, I got big dreams.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Pun Fun, where we have fun with the puns. My name is Ryan, and we're going to check out episode 2 of the Marvel series hit, What If? If you haven't yet seen episode 2 of What If, please be sure to do so, as there are major spoiler alerts ahead. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about T'Challa, kind of the duality with Peter Quill, the mistake of one being taken over the other, how did that affect the galaxy. We're also going to talk about Peter Quill in the end. What does this mean also for Ego? What does Ego become? What happens to Ego, and how does this maybe can destroy everything else, as the Watcher, pointed out. We're also going to talk about basically some news that came about for the Black Panther 2 movie that is now called Wakanda Forever. And we're also going to tie in a few of these characters. What does it mean for the MCU? Also, what is their comic book backstory and a bit of the comic source? Let's get into it. First of all, we see T'Challa not, dancing and prancing around with his Walkman. He goes straight to it, goes in for the Power Stone. The orb in this case, I don't think he knows. Maybe he does. But even if he does, maybe they'll be using it for good. Anyhow, what we do know is that they are intercepted by Korag. So Korag comes in and he's like, hey, and says,
Who is that
He's actually filled with
Pokemon?
admiration. It's very similar to John Wick, where he has to fight, but the person he's fighting with is super in love with him, or in high admiration for him. So it's kind of weird, but at the same time it was hilarious because of the the duality. For example, where he was bowing, kind of calling back to Bruce Banner, where we do not do that over here, or we don't do that here. Anyways, it's just to show how much of an impact this character has compared to Quill. Quill was raised to take from the rich and poor, and basically to survive. So very selfish. Whereas T'Challa was, brought on board and may have taught the Ravagers a different way of life and maybe more humane, and to be selfless and kind of the Robin Hood-esque, lifestyle, which is take from the rich and then give it to the poor, or to those who deserve it. So that being said, T'Challa has actually changed a lot of lives, and this is what we're going to get into as we go forward. For example, the Mad Titan himself, with the gauntlet, well, he's been snapping onto a different tune because T'Challa actually convinced him, hey, you do not need to snap away half the universe or carry on your crusade to destroy half the universe. Basically, there's other ways, and, basically whatever everyone has been saying on Reddit or Twitter or on Facebook, what Thanos should have been doing, well, that's what T'Challa kind of voiced. And Thanos actually agreed. He was like, you know what? I think this guy's onto something. However, there's a little bug behind, or a little Jiminy Cricket that's on his shoulder kind of telling him, hey, you know what? Maybe we can still go ahead with it, but, retitle it or rephrase it differently. As we've seen, he talks about it in multiple occasions, but words it differently. But everyone kind of says, no, it's still kind of genocide. Anyways, that being said, he didn't necessarily got softer, but he is more merciful. Being more merciful, he's actually more merciful towards his daughter as well. Or daughters. We didn't see Gamora, and I think there's a reason for that. Because now, maybe because of him being merciful, maybe Gamora became, the Thanos of this universe. Yeah, I think that works. And we also kind of see her with his attire, so I can definitely see that happening. Anyways, the adopted child, Nebula, we see her definitely looking different with a set of hair. She is more organic than she was cybernetic, which was great. It's also a different, version of her. People online were going crazy. They're saying, finally, we get to see this more storytelling of her story, basically, because she does play a big part in the not MCU, but in the Marvel universe. But we kind of see her as a side character, except for maybe the Guardians 2, where we do see a bit more of her story. But in this case, this was actually pretty cool that she was part of this whole heist, Ocean's 11 thing, if you will. Anyways, that being said, she comes to T'Challa, tells him, hey, there's this Transformers beast machine MacGuffin thing we need to find, that basically we're going to plant and, grow organic, life again on planets that don't have it anymore. So they go on a little conquest, and basically, they meet up with the Collector, which, by the way, got super ripped. Maybe it was because of COVID. He had time to buff up and stuff. But in this universe, he definitely, throw down, and we'll get into that in a couple seconds. What's very cool is that we also learned that Drax's daughter and wife actually survived And he's happy as hell. He actually owns the bar. It could actually, well, it's not the bar, but it's the same one. I mean, he loved the bar life when he basically went onto onto Nowhere the first time around, and this time around he actually owns it, which I thought was cool. Definitely cool callback. So now we finally get to visit the Collector. We see the Black Order. So the Black Order figured, you know what, there is no being, like, who's destroying the universe and all that, like the power that Thanos had. So basically they're with the Collector. They're part of his entourage in the Office. Actually, if there's an Office-esque episodes with the with the Black Order, I think that'd be funny. I want to know who's Dwight, and definitely want to know who's Jim. Anyways, on to furthermore, we also get a shot of the creatures or beings that were locked up. They're still pretty much the same beings that we still see locked up. Even Howard the Duck. Definitely a cool nod. I would love to see more of him in the MCU as well. In the 90s, he had a movie. I mean, it was good. I mean, for the time, everything being practical and everything, it was a fun movie, but it kind of got swept under the rug. Now with this whole version of him and the comics that came out that followed it, I think are just great, and he definitely has more backstory to bring and a lot more to offer. I mean, we do see him in the Endgame, portal coming through, but it'd be great if he had a bigger role as well. Anyways, that being said, we also get a glimpse of a bunch of ships. So we kind of see the NovaCorp ship. We see the Grand Master's ship. We also see one Hank Pym used to go through the quantum realm. There's a bit of nod and Easter eggs all through. I think we even see like an X-Wing in the background, but with a different kind of engine that looks kind of Star Trek Enterprise-ish. Anyways, that being said, we also, speaking of his collection, we also get a glimpse when he's, fighting of a board, kind of like in Predator, where he has his trophies. So it's kind of like a weapon that he's won off the victims or the people he's defeated. So in this case, we do see Captain America shield. So we don't know it's from Captain America. Maybe it's from the Falcon who became Captain America. Maybe it's from Zaya Bradley, or it could have also been. Anyways, the list goes on and on and on. We don't know which Captain America died. What we do know, I don't know if it would be Steve, because that would mean Steve did get the serum, and between the time of her being trapped in that dimension thing with Shumagorat, if you haven't seen that video, you definitely want to check it out, with the theory of who is behind the portal. Maybe he actually got the serum afterwards when it was perfected, and then carried on his own little mission and got the shield. Or maybe Bucky got, because Bucky does become Captain America at some point as well, so maybe Bucky's dead. Anyways, that being said, we're gonna go into a lighter. Well, I mean, do we continue this dark path? Yeah, we can continue this dark path. We also see one of the Collector's weapon is basically Korg's like arm. At first, I thought it was a call to Hellboy's, the way his arm was made, or kind of like the Thing, because it's all like rock. And then he explained who he came from, and somebody being very talkative, which was Korg. Korg, being the talkative rock to the papers and the scissors of his life. Here he gets his arm amputated and used as a weapon, which I thought was, very dark. Then again, it's very cool that they'd give a shout out to him, especially since we last saw him with the Deadpool Easter egg. Well, not Easter egg, but little video that they had together, and Deadpool was able to dismember himself. In this case, Korg probably did the same thing, or he's probably dead. Anyways, that being said, that battle scene was great. I mean, them fighting and then having the talking drums come in and out with the Wakanda score, and then also mixing in the Guardians of the Galaxy score. We saw Yondu. I mean, those were just great. They worked so well together, and the partners as well. You can see that they've been on a few missions. They have their own little tactics, even stealing the gauntlet, kind of a move that Tony does. Well, in this case, he just stole the gems, but they actually take the whole gauntlet itself and win and save the day. So there is some news that came out regarding the new Wakanda Forever movie. So it's Black Panther 2, if you will. In this case, so as we knew, T'Challa assigned Shuri to be the head of science and technology. She actually creates a team or a group called STEM, so STEM, where basically the great minds come together and technology is shared amongst each other and they build a bigger and brighter future. And in this case, this is where they may find, and this is the big reveal, it would be Riri Williams. So in this case, it is Ironheart. Ironheart is known to be a successor to Iron Man, or a version, if you will, to Ironheart. I thought maybe we'd see her in the Armor Wars, and I think that's how they're going to tie into Armor Wars with Rhodey. But it's going to be an awesome way to tie it all together, and I kind of get a background. Will she be initially from Wakanda in this case, or will she just be maybe discovered, in the wherever, I guess in the United States, where she was originally from, and in this case maybe through a science fair or a project that she's working, where you'll see the Wakandian technology gonna kind of mix with Stark Industries technology. Anyways, all that being said, I just want to finish off with Peter Quill. So Peter Quill basically got the short end of the stick. His dad comes in, tells him, "Hey, yo, son, I'm your dad." And basically, as we've seen in the movies, he was meant to be the battery, basically the Energizer battery, if you will, or bunny, that powers the planet and kind of gives Ego, well, he's already a Celestial, but I guess powers beyond his own meaning that he'll be able to absorb and conquer a lot more of the universe, kind of like Galactus, where he's just going to be on a conquest to basically spread and become a virus, if you will. Well, no, Galactus eats. Ego would be spread and conquer. So kind of like Megabyte, yeah. Anyways, that being said, we're going to close it off with one last thing, is that our next episode will be featuring an artist. So she's been on Instagram, she's been on Facebook as well. She has a pretty big following as well. New to the scenes, but her portraits, her art is just amazing. We can't wait to show you who this person is. So please be sure to tune in. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, the tribute they did for Chadwick was also very touching, and a lot of people wept after seeing, the full episode. I think this is a great homage. However, there are going to be other episodes with Chadwick, so I think there's 4 in total for the count. And yeah, we're super dope, super excited. Also trying to figure out how they're going to tie this all in together. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. All your support is always welcome. Take it easy, guys. Peace.